All right. Hello. It's been a while, but this is just what it is. So, it's the second week of April, or I guess the third week now. We're just past the midway point of April. It's the first truly beautiful spring week that we've had. We had a couple warm days in the middle of February. And then it was cold, and then it was rainy for 2 weeks straight. But today and yesterday have been gorgeous. So I thought, what better time than now to do a little suburban New York foliage tour. And I'll probably do another one of these in a couple weeks because the foliage is so prone to change. But yeah, we're gonna take a walk. This is gonna be the walk that I take with my baby, pictured here, and young Pork Chop here. Pork Chop, say hello to the people. But we're going to take special note of all of the nice little foliage that pops up this time of year. And yeah, we will do another one in a few weeks because the dogwoods and the Japanese cherry blossoms are not blooming yet. But we have some other cherry blossom types that are blooming. And we also have a lot of other flowering trees that are blooming. Something that I like a lot, my favorite type of flowering tree, are the flowering fruit trees. Stone fruit in particular, though apples also, apple trees do flower and are very pretty. So we have quite a few crab apple trees on our little walk, and a couple of other trees that I haven't been able to define that also are definitely fruit trees of some type. So we'll look at all of those. I'll talk about them. Might talk about some other stuff, who knows? We like to keep it casual over on this channel. So right now, we are on the big uphill that starts our walk. And there's a few spots in this walk that I tell Pork Chop are no poop zones. This is one of them, because it's uphill and it's right on a curve. So traffic in either direction can't see us. Not that we get a ton of traffic. The second one is that hill right there, because you can't really see on the other side of it when you're on it. And cars, yeah, there we go. Cars like to go pretty fast around here. And when they see me in the stroller, they give us a pretty wide berth. But sometimes they don't see us, that is. So here we've got some forsythia bushes. I like forsythias quite a bit. They're the first flowering thing that we get consistently in New York to bloom usually. So we'll see these guys. You can even see they're half green right now. So they're a little past their peak blooming right now. When they're not, before they bloom, they're just bare, just brown branches. While they're blooming, they're a beautiful, shocking yellow. And afterwards, they're just green. You wouldn't be able to tell them from any other bush from afar. Fun fact, I have a tattoo of a forsythia on my forearm. And this is for a couple of reasons. As I've mentioned on the channel before, I was born and raised in Brooklyn. Lived there until I was 30. And forsythia is the flower of Brooklyn. Not officially, but a lot of people in Brooklyn say that it is, my dad included. And it's also supposed to be a symbol for fatherhood. So I got this tattoo when my wife was still pregnant with my son. So it was my fatherhood tattoo. Now, I've been thinking about getting a forsythia tattoo since I was 18. So this was kind of just an excuse to do it. Anyway, now you know more about me. We'll look at trees. This tree I think is a Japanese maple, so it's not going to flower. But let's go to the other side of the street, because this one is excellent. So this is actually two different cherry blossom trees. I think the white one's a cherry blossom. Maybe not. The pink one is a weeping cherry blossom tree. But as you can see, it's two trees. They've just kind of fused together down here. But one of them's pink and one is white, and it just makes for this very beautiful effect of a duochromatic or heterochromatic flowering tree. You don't see that all the time. You sticking your feet out there? The boy loves having his feet out. He is not a shoe boy. So our little walking route is just a big loop, basically. And it doesn't go through anywhere. It is a suburban enclave in every sense. Come on, Poodle. So the only traffic that we get around here are people who live here and UPS and Amazon trucks and school buses. So it's not a ton of traffic. It's enough traffic that you have to be a little bit careful, but nothing too disruptive. All right, second tree of our tour. This little guy. It looks like this tree was like heavily pruned, and yet it persists. Very beautifully, I would add. Yeah, they like chopped all the branches off this thing. I don't know what it's called when this happens, but new little branches sprouted and they're flowering. And it's a very nice effect. It's very beautiful, very nice to look at. These two trees over here are like a lot of the reason why I say that I'm gonna do another tour in a few weeks. These are both dogwoods. One of them's a pink dogwood and one's a white dogwood. And they also have just a beautiful heterochromatic effect. They're very complementary to one another. They got this lovely guy over here. I think this is a weeping cherry blossom too. I'm not an arborist or anything. I don't know for a fact what a lot of these trees are. I'm just giving my best guess based off my layman New York pedestrian knowledge. Oh, that's a loud fucking sound. What is that? It's gotta be the UPS guy. Man, living in the burbs, you really come to appreciate how fucking loud gas engines are. Of course, this guy's following our exact route and is gonna just pass us and stop in front of us and then pass us and stop in front of us. We're not gonna get mad about it though. It's a beautiful day. He's just here doing his job. I'm always fascinated by like different houses and different layouts and stuff. Like this one. First of all, they've got a nice little bush in front. I see a flowering bush and I think it's an azalea, but I don't think that is an azalea. I don't know what it is. The flowers are a little clumped together. The azaleas usually just kind of look like a wall of flowers, but look at their giant boulder. It's so cool. Yeah, so we're in the Hudson Valley, which, if anyone is not familiar, is basically the term for like the entire part of New York that the towns that surround the Hudson River, obviously. It's not a valley. It's just called the Hudson Valley. And you've got the lower Hudson, which is like the Westchester part, the mid Hudson, which is northern Westchester and Putnam County, and like, I don't know, maybe whatever counties north of Putnam, Dutchess, I think. And then northern Hudson Valley, which is like up more. I couldn't name towns there if I wanted to. Hudson, I think, is probably one of them. We're in the mid Hudson Valley. And what is cool about the mid Hudson Valley and the lower Hudson Valley and the entire Hudson Valley is that because of the river, it is like incredibly hilly here. And I found out recently that like this is kind of a meme. Like everyone talks about how hilly their hometown is. My frame of reference is Brooklyn, which is not very hilly. It's just really got like one giant hill that runs through it. It's like extremely hilly here, and I really enjoy seeing all of the different houses and how they accommodate the landscape. Because like they're all very unique, and I kind of fantasize about like living in each one and what it would be like. Got another soon-to-be flowering pink dogwood here. Fun fact, I know this is true of the white dogwoods. I don't know if it's true of the other colors, but the flowers on the white dogwood at least, possibly the others as well, I don't know, are actually leaves. They're not flowers. They just look like flowers. And the leaves start out white and then they just turn green, I guess, after a few weeks. So it's not like they flower and then the flowers go away. They just change, the leaves just change color, like not in the fall. It's very interesting. And we're coming up on Magnolia Grove here. And we've got a few different ones to look at. We'll see them all. On the right, behind all of these forsythia that are past their blooming prime for the year, we have got a couple of beautiful standard magnolias, as well as this lovely little brook that runs through it. Like, I love this property. It would be so nice to hang out in this little like grove that they have. And then on this side, pork chop, hold on for a sec, honey. We're gonna go over. This is like a hot pink magnolia. It's definitely different from the standard ones. I don't know what the actual name for it is, but I love them. I love the hot pink. Now that I'm seeing another Japanese maple, I think that first tree that we saw that I said was a Japanese maple and wouldn't flower, I think that was a pink dogwood. We'll find out in a week or two. I'm like pretty certain it was though, because I've seen another few dogwoods that I know are dogwoods since then, and they look very similar. And also the Japanese maples still have their leaves on them. Ah, okay, so here is a Japanese cherry blossom. The cherry blossoms we all know and love, the sakura tree. You can see that the buds are here, but they are not really bloomed yet. I'll give this one like 3 or 4 days, it's gonna be beautiful. And then next to it, this is one of my favorite parts of the walk, or it will be in a few weeks. Here's a white dogwood. And we can kind of see, those are the little blossoms. They're gonna be white, they're gonna look like flowers, they're just gonna be leaves. So then over here, and this guy's just past, like a week probably past actually, 5 days past its prime. Sorry that you guys missed it. This beautiful tree, which has these lovely pink flowers and then the contrasting dark red leaves. Now, I wanna think that this is a peach tree, maybe a bonfire peach, because of the color of the flowers and the leaves. But that wouldn't be that like typical for around here. So it might just be a crabapple. I don't know. There's a lot of species of crabapple. I'm not really good at discerning them. But I do know that it looks like a bonfire peach tree, which is among my favorite flowering fruit trees. I love flowering trees in general. Here's another couple dogwoods. When I lived in Brooklyn, like as an adult, you know, not as a kid, I found myself really yearning for like a lot more nature than I got there. And I got a Brooklyn Botanic Gardens membership, and I used to go there like all the time. Multiple times a week I would go and just like walk through, walk around, sit, just appreciate springtime, because like, yes, there are a lot of flowering trees in New York City, but you kind of have to walk around like, you know, New York to see them. And while there are parts of Brooklyn that are phenomenally beautiful and architecturally unparalleled anywhere, as far as I'm concerned, and I understand I'm heavily biased, it's still not the same as like, you don't get this quiet that I have right now, you know? So like walking around the Botanic Gardens was my sort of escape, and I developed a real affinity for all the flowering trees during that period of my life. It was just like 5 years I was going to the Botanic Gardens all the time, especially in the spring. And now that I live here, it's like, I'm so appreciative that I get to see all of this just on a regular basis. And I'm even more appreciative that I like have my own property now. And yeah, so I'm currently shopping for a flowering tree to put in the front yard. And probably like next year, maybe I'll plant it when things are a little less busy. I could ever get less busy. So here, one of the most beautiful cherry blossom trees in our whole walk. Look at this. You can't beat it. I mean, just majestic and gorgeous. I'm also a big fan of this house. It's just so like photogenic. It's got a whole vibe to it. Big front yard, probably a smaller backyard. But like, I mean, you guys have seen how few cars pass. You can hang out in that yard and no one's really gonna bother you. Just look at it. Oh, gosh. Can't get enough of this. And then we got another magnolia that never really had it didn't have a big bloom this year. It's a little shady in this part of the walk. It's not right now, but like throughout the day. Got some kind of flowering tree that's still in its pot over there, a little sapling. So yeah, when I say like the houses and everything, like it all accommodates the landscape and they're all different. Like we've got these guys that are like, their second story is parallel with where we're walking right now. It's very interesting. The front yard is like a big hill that goes down to the house. But then the hill kind of goes up, and then we see we've got this guy. And the front of this house is parallel with the road that we're walking on. But then it precipitously drops off. And like if we can, I love this house by the way, it's so cute. Like look, just a big hill on the side, and then the backyard is a full story lower. So they have a whole view of what from the front is their basement. From the backyard is fully exposed. We've got this one that's a little bit in the middle. There's a little dip down to it, and then it dips more in the backyard. And then this one, which dips down again. It's just like the landscape is all different, and the houses are just built into it. All right, so we got this weeping cherry blossom here, and then this is a eastern redbud that's just starting to bloom. And I love the red buds. They're so cool. The colors that they get are just awesome. They get this like shocking, like vibrant purple. We'll see them in like a week probably. This house, like look at this. Their backyard with a stone wall that like hits the other abutting stone wall from like a different little suburban enclave. That's actually in a different county. That's Westchester over there. We're in Putnam. Oh God, in the fall, I mean, I'll do a tour in the fall of all the fall foliage, but this backyard just looks like something out of a fucking storybook. It's so magical. I am so jealous of these people. Like the house is nice, but the property, oh, the property is so nice. So our little enclave has got a few different like small, like quarter-mile long roads that come off of it. Two of them are dirt roads. This is one. This is Eagle Court. It's nice, it's kind of charming. I love our house and where it's situated, but I do love thinking about the other houses. You kicking down there? It's so nice out, huh, hon? What a beautiful day. This is like my perfect weather. It's like 65 degrees, maybe a little cooler than that. I like the low 60s. I think mostly high 50s even. I like when I can walk around and I'm not breaking a sweat, and each breeze feels like a cool dip in a river. Can't beat it. You just can't. Yeah, this guy's turning. Good use of turning signal, sir. Pork chop, come here. Pork chop has this charming quality where when she sees a car coming, there's a car coming along next to us, she dives in front of it. It is infuriating, isn't it, Pork chop? Continuing the tour, on our right, this little stumpy tree is a dwarf crabapple tree. It is past its flowering point. If we had caught it a week ago, it would have been a different story. And then coming up on our left, the reason that there are so many bugs in our neighborhood, our pond. I think it's a lake, technically. I don't know what I think it's called Lake, I don't know what it's called. It's a lake. We can look on the map and find out what it's called one day if we want. And it's turtle season now. You can't see it on this because the GoPro's not the highest resolution, but all the little logs on the lake have got like 20 turtles out on them right now. It's very cool. Although they are gonna start like crossing the road soon. It's always sad. There's always a few turtles that get squashed by cars while they're crossing the road. And then Porkchop tries to eat their pieces for weeks. And over here we've got this lovely, like, very seasonal, very temporary thing that happens where all these little yellow flowers, they're not dandelions, they look like it from afar, but they aren't. Just like pop up and make the grass have this sort of yellow hue to it for a little bit. I love it. It's so nice. And this neighbor's lawn up here actually has it as well. Look at this. Like, I know it's atypical and it doesn't last forever, but like, how charming is that? What a beautiful walk this has been. I like kind of wish it were longer. Sometimes I'll do a double loop just for fun. But thinking about taking Mello to the library today for the local parents group. Thinking about it, usually it's the highlight of my work week, but he's been sick lately, and like he's definitely past his sickness, like long past it. We think he had Fifth's disease, which is something I'd never heard of. That sounds fully made up. Its alternate name also sounds made up. They call it slapped cheeks syndrome. The baby basically wakes up one day with a rash on his cheeks and a fever. And it's highly contagious, but it's only contagious for as long as they've had a fever. And he hasn't had a fever in like a week and a half. But he's still coughing a little bit. And like everything I've read says he's not contagious. So I'm thinking about taking him for that reason. But if he does cough, I'm gonna get side eye from the other parents. Just like that. There we go. Yeah, so if he does cough like that while we're there, everyone's gonna be looking at me, and then I'm gonna have to be like, no, he's fine. He had a highly contagious disease, but we're confident he's not contagious anymore. But then if any of them get any type of sickness, like for the next week, I mean, I'm putting myself in their shoes. I would blame them. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna take them or not. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I want to be home so I have the ability to decide. Hence the not extra loop on the walk today. Car coming. Yes, walking on these hills does take it out of you, though. All right, I think we're gonna call it here. This has been a gorgeous walk. Maybe the best walk of the year so far, honestly. Oh, good. The lunatic neighbor dogs are out just in time. Talk to you guys next time. Shut the fuck up, you guys.